ahead and get my first Preptober vlog out there for you. Yesterday I got so much stuff done and I'm really excited, and I wanted to give you guys a brief rundown of what my process is looking like so far. As far as getting ready for Nanowrimo this year, I'm really stoked about it. First things first, for me personally, I find it really hard to focus on any kinds of big creative projects that I'm working on of any sort unless my area is, like, the area that I'm utilizing the most is like clean and like organized, and I mean like deep cleaned. So basically yesterday, one of the things I did is I went around in my study and I dusted all of my bookshelves. I dusted basically every surface in the room. I cleaned out all the corners, and then I went ahead and set up my Nanowrimo corner here. Really, it's just my writing corner in general, but I'm really excited. I feel super prepared. There are some aspects that I still need to kind of update and touch up beforehand. Some of this stuff you might recognize if you've already been following my videos for a hot minute. I made some videos back in the spring kind of going over what some of these things are, but for anyone who hasn't seen those, it's totally fine. If you look directly behind me, that poster right there, that is basically a outline, a bare bones outline for my entire overarching story plot for the entire series that I'm writing. It's color-coded depending on which of the kind of main background characters. I have to think of what a better word for that is. They're not characters that we're getting, you know, their perspective. We're not seeing through their eyes necessarily, but they are very important to the story. Like without the story, or without them, the story wouldn't happen. Those kind of characters. So I have them color-coded by kind of what they are involved in, or just big moments that have to do more specifically with them, just because I'm a very visual person and it makes it easier for me to have this level of organization. So yeah, that's the main thing. And I have that out because it makes it easier for me to kind of keep track of like the timeline of what's going on while I'm writing each of the POV characters out, my main protagonists. It makes it easier for me to be like, okay, well, this is where I'm at with this character, what's actually going on in the overarching plot at the same time, if that makes sense. The next part that I'm really excited about, I haven't fully finished creating this board yet. I did it once before. I feel like some things shifted since then, so I'm basically redoing it, and I have a little bit different of an attack plan on this. But this board that you see right up here has, along the side here, I have all of the main points in the 3-act story structure listed out, and just like a very brief description of what exactly that is in case I like space on it, or you know, some of the names of these things aren't the most descriptive, right? So I have all those written out. Hang on, I should probably put a light on that. So yeah, so those are all written out along the side here, and I have them portioned out by acts, right? So this is Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 is actually all of these guys. The board is not big enough. It is what it is. Up at the top here, sorry, this is weird. These are my 3 main POV characters for book 1 in my series. And basically what I'm working on doing right now is going through, and same kind of idea with this. I'm writing out just the briefest, like, 1 sentence describing each of these different moments for each of these main characters so that I can have a visual. This is kind of how I do the timeline thing. It makes it easier for me, and if I need to move anything around or something like that later on, it's also a lot easier to just, you know, switch it over, right? So I'm really excited. I feel like this is going to be incredibly helpful. Over here, I have to update this a bit more because I haven't updated it for a few months now, but this is the board that I use to kind of keep track of all of the, you know, kind of where I'm at, right? So I have my calendar up here, but I actually have everything listed here, like kind of by the week of what needs to be done, any important notes, you know, basically like I have my like word count breakdown that I aim for, all of that kind of stuff, as well as anything that I have just like created artistically for fun. Not everything is on here, to be fair, but a lot of the little creative things that I have made that are pieces of the world I've created because it helps inspire me. The last thing that is incredibly helpful to me personally on this process is I like to have a actual map of my world, and there's aspects of it that are evolving. This isn't the map that's probably going to end up in the, printed copy of the book. But again, I'm very visual, so, and also all of my characters, even ones that we're not going to meet in book one, their stories all take place in different parts of the world. And so being able to kind of, again, see where each of these characters are, where they might have to travel, what kind of terrain they're going to have to travel through. If there's references in book one, which there will be, if there's references in book one to characters that we'll meet later on in the series in some kind of way, or at least like the lands those characters come from, then again, it's easier for me to see like the directions, all of that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, having a map is really helpful. This is actually like my, I think like third iteration of my map. It's kind of shifted with the story because I personally find like the world is just as much of a character in my series, at least. I think in a lot of fantasy especially, but the world is as much of a character as the characters themselves. So again, having that visual to like see what's going on. Super, super helpful. I want to show you one more thing in this particular vlog because I'm really excited about this process. I think it's going to help, and I have kind of done a version of it for you to see what I'm talking about that I've removed any of the spoilers, so you won't get any spoilers for my book. So basically what I've done is I have taken the 3-act story structure template page from Abby Emmons' free downloads on her site. If you guys somehow do not know who Abby Emmons is, please go check her out. She's absolutely amazing and incredibly helpful. Even if her process is a bit different than what works for you, she at least can help you figure out a way that will work for you. I absolutely love her videos. But anyway, she has this awesome template, and I went ahead and copied and pasted it into my Google Docs. And then I wrote the names of my 3 main characters below here. And what I went and did last night, and what I'm going to continue doing for this next character here. So for Turian last night, I went ahead and filled out each of these different acts. So I wrote what the hook is going to be. I wrote the inciting incident, the build-up, etc., right? Basically not writing out entire scenes, just kind of like what is going to happen at this point in her story, keeping it pretty simple for the most part, right? And I'm going to do that with the other 2 characters as well below here. And when I finish with that, the next step in the process, for me at least, is to go through and further begin fleshing out each of those things. So I'm going to include different scenes and have and it's take it step by step. It's a process, right? So I will show you guys when I get to that next stage what I'm talking about. My goal is to literally within the next couple of days, since I already have each of these characters like full stories pretty much for the entire first book written out, but I have it kind of written out in like 2,000 to 4,000 word little summarizations. And so this is kind of how I'm going through and breaking down each of those summarizations to make sure that I'm hitting all of those main beats of a story for each individual character. The next phase that I, again, will show you when I get to it is to go through and separate each of those characters out, flesh out, scene by scene or chapter by chapter. Most likely it'll be chapter by chapter first, and then go to like each individual scene in the chapters over the next few weeks. This is just me trying to get as prepared as I can be so that during NaNoWriMo I can just sit down and write each scene and chapter and just go, right? So those are the things that I am currently working on. I have been having a lot of fun with this. I feel like this process actually really helps figure out how to fill in those gaps, right? So if there is a moment still in any of my character stories, which there are definitely a few still, that I don't necessarily know how to get from, you know, point J to point T or something, then actually having these story beats in front of me helps me be like, oh, okay, right, so this is the natural, like this is where it should go from here, this will keep it more interesting, maybe I can add another plot twist here, whatever, right? It's gonna make it so much easier, I know, for myself. I don't know if anybody else does a process similar to this. What is your process? I'd be really curious to hear if you want to share below. We're all like learning this together, right? Probably none of us are pros yet. So I think it'd be really cool if we could just help inspire each other, share tips, whatever. So yeah, what works for you? Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here and sharing this journey with me. I'm super excited for this year's Nanowrimo. I can't even tell you. I'm definitely also really excited to actually share this experience with the community. This is going to be the first time I've actually, I guess, participated on this level. I'm not even going to use the site. Honestly, like the site confuses me and it feels like extra work, and I clearly have enough work that I'm providing myself with all of this. I just feel like doing that would slow me down. But being able to go on this journey in this kind of way is really exciting for me. So please comment below. Let me know, what's your process so far? Are you doing NaNoWriMo? I'd love to hear all about it. And I will see y'all very, very soon. Peace.